Hello learners. So we'll be discussing about MTD versus Chile case in this lecture. So this is a very interesting case, and for the fact that actually the tribunal came out with the decision that the damages will be shared between the claimant and the respondent. So for many reasons this is a very interesting case, and there were some environmental concerns that were raised in this case as well. So anyway, it becomes pertinent for us to study this case in detail. So in the factual circumstance of this case, talks about the fact that there was an investor from Malaysia. So MTD Equity was a Malaysian company, and this Malaysian company had a wholly owned subsidiary in Chile, that was MTD Chile, and the investment was with regard to a mixed use planning community in Chile. So the host state is Chile here. So what is it that MTD wanted to do was, MTD wanted to purchase 600 hectares of land in a region called Fundo El Principal de Pirque. I'm not sure with the Spanish pronunciation, Pirquee. Right, so there was a place, and there they wanted to make an investment, and they wanted to make a self-sufficient satellite city. So basically, the township that they were planning would have uh, accommodations, flats, apartments, and that would cater to the people of different economic strata. And in addition to the residential buildings, it will also have schools, universities, supermarket, and other buildings that are necessary for commerce and other services. So basically, they planned it to be a self-sufficient one. This was supposed to be the investment. And now here the landowner who owned this land back in Chile was Mr. Fontaine. So there was a contract between Mr. Fontaine and MTD. Fontaine have made a remark that the land was currently zoned for agriculture use, but since the land is unproductive, it can be easily rezoned, especially if there is going to be a foreign investment in it. This was the statement made by Mr. Fontaine. Then there was a contract that was signed between Mr. Fontaine and MTD, and in the contract they stipulated that, the contract anyway contained a term stating that this contract will go through pursuant to the approval of FIC. And what is an FIC? FIC is Foreign Investment Commission, one of the agencies of Chile, and they would screen all the projects, foreign investment projects, before it happens. So basically like a foreign investment screening committee, and it was called FIC, Foreign Investment Commission. So now here the contract between Mr. Fontaine and MTD contained the clause that this is pursuant to the approval of FIC, and it also contained a clause stating that there will be one company incorporated under the laws of Chile, that was EPSA. And the shareholding pattern of EPSA went like this: 51% was with MTD and 49% was with Mr. Fontaine. This is what the idea was. So then, pursuant to the law as well as to the contract between Mr. Fontaine and MTD, they had to make an application to FIC. So on January 1997, an application was made to FIC, and in that application, the location of the project was mentioned as Pirque. Actually, the location is Fondo El Principal de Pirque, but in the first application, a broader area was mentioned as the location, which is Pirque, the metropolitan region, and that was mentioned. And an approval for this application was received in March 1997. January 1997, the application was made, and in March 1997, the application was also given. And now what happened was, the MTD hired a few consulting firms in order to obtain the regulatory permits. MTD hired three consulting firms in order to obtain regulatory permits from Chile, and also to assist in the design work, construction work, engineering work, and all of that. So, but the job of the consulting firm was to obtain necessary permits for the project. Now again, another application was made to FIC for additional working capital in April 1997, and it was accepted within few days. In April 1997 itself, it was again accepted. So at this particular point of time, what is the law that surrounds the zoning thing? If you look at the zoning law in Chile, that fell within the purview of Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. The Spanish abbreviation is MINVU, MINVU. So MINVU was responsible for this, and there was a law, or there was a regulation, a document sort of a thing, PMRS, and PMRS had categorized Peerk as a agricultural zone, and so that was with regard to the legal framework, right? And who is responsible for making any zoning changes? And that would be SERMI, Secretarial Regional something. So SERMI, SERMI, the abbreviation of SERMI. So SERMI was responsible for the zoning changes, and this happens within the purview of MINVU, and this is the legal framework, and the three consulting firms were hired for obtaining the necessary permits. At this point of time, in 1998, the consulting firms had informed MTD that Sermi Gonzalez was not interested in rezoning the place where the investment is supposed to happen, right? So then apparently Sermi Gonzalez had stated that it would not be possible for them to rezone. Just before this had happened, in December 1997, there was one amendment that had happened to PMRS, and wherein the northern region of Santiago was rezoned so that urban development activities can happen. But the project is located in the southern region, right? So southern region there was no change, but in the northern region there was change. The PMRS was modified for the northern region. So Sermi Gonzalez apparently had stated that just because in a few months back, 1997, December 1997, they had made the changes, so they were not interested in making any more amendments to PMRS, and this is what was communicated by the consulting firms to MTD. And this was done in March 1998. So then the consulting firms gives an option to MTD that there is one other way they could get the rezoning done, and that involved a preparation of a sectional plan, a preparation of a communal plan, and making an application under Article 55, wherein you can you can do some construction which sort of complements the pre-existing activity and all of that. So basically an alternative was suggested by the consulting firms with regard to how to get the rezoning done even when there is no amendment to PMRS. If they take this route, then an agency of Chile, CORE, CORE, that would be responsible for doing this, and then it can happen. This is what the consulting firm had communicated, and accordingly here you could see MTD meeting the president of CORE and all of that. And in fact, in August 1997 itself, we could see that MTD had met with the mayor of Peerk and had gotten the support of the mayor as well, and a letter was written in August 1997 by the mayor in support of this project as well. So they're again meeting with the president of CORE as well with regard to this particular project, and the president of CORE stated that since there is no communal plan for Peerk, he wanted the sectional plan that will be made for Peerk to be a strategic plan that outlines the activities in the region of Peerk. So that is what was communicated by president of CORE. So what the mayor did was, mayor had asked the municipal council to prepare a sectional plan, and then after the sectional plan was prepared, mayor sent it to Sermi Gonzalez for the comments, because president of CORE had stated that sectional plan has to be shown as a strategic plan. So here the mayor had forwarded the sectional plan to Sermi Gonzalez, and Sermi Gonzalez had stated that it would be inconvenient to undertake this sort of a route, and he stated that Sermi Gonzalez stated that any change to the zoning should come from amendment to PMRS, and then that can only be done by Sermi. So this was the reply that was given to mayor when mayor had sent the sectional plan to Sermi Gonzalez. So now at this point of time, we do see that another EIS, environmental impact study, was prepared by MTD, and that was again forwarded by mayor to one other agency, Coremia, right, one of the Chilean agencies, and a public review of the statement was given and everything on the EIS. Then later on, what happened was the September 1998, Sermi Gonzalez, without commenting on the merits of the sectional plan, had issued a statement that only the amendment to PMRS can be done by CERMI, right? So here in September 1998, CERMI had rejected the sectional plan without commenting on the merits, and then the minister of Minwoo's minister, comes out and issues a press statement stating that ministry is not supporting the project because it is in violation of the zoning law, and secondly that the mayor has withdrawn the support from the project, and thirdly that the environmental impact study submitted by MTD was also rejected by the Chilean agency that was looking at the EIS. So all of these were made as a public statement. So then MTD communicated its intention to file an investment dispute. So this happened in June 1999. Then September 1999, another application was made to FIC for another additional working capital, and in that application the location was not mentioned, and we do see that was accepted as well. I mean, it had earlier filed an intention to file an investment arbitration. Then we do see this a third application was also filed. So this actually surrounds the, this was the factual matrix of this particular case, MTD versus Chile. And in this case, what we see here is MTD has not gotten the rezoning or it did not get the amendment to PMRS which rezoned the land in which the investment activity is supposed to happen. A mixed use community thing had to happen. So, and at this point of time, MTD was claiming violations of FET clause as well as expropriation. Particularly to claim violations of the BIT, we could see MTD had used the MFN clause of Malaysia-Chile BIT in order to borrow favorable provisions from Denmark, Chile BIT and Croatia, Chile BIT. So now what MTD had done was, it invoked the MFN clause in order to borrow favorable provision from other BITs, especially the BIT that Chile had signed with Denmark and Croatia. And one provision in Denmark, Chile BIT was, it sort of internationalized the obligation that are contained in FIC contracts. If you remember, two applications were earlier approved by FIC. So there were certain provisions in that contract that MTD had with FIC. So by relying on Denmark Chile BIT, what MTD was arguing was, the obligation that were contained in the FIC contracts were now international in nature, and therefore there was question with regard to applicable law and all of that. The funny thing here is, both the claimant and the host state here was talking that applicable law would be international law, but they differed with regard to where the international law will be applied and all of that. But there were multiple provisions of other BITs that were also invoked here. So I hope you've understood the factual circumstance of this case. In the next video, we will look at what were the arguments that were adduced by the claimant and how it were refuted by Chile, and what was the decision of the tribunal in the context of FET, and then we will see in one other video with regard to the arguments regarding expropriation claim and how did the tribunal award damages in this particular case. Before I conclude the video, let me quickly give a recap of the factual circumstances. Malaysian corporation wants to invest in Chile in a satellite city, self-sufficient satellite city, but the problem was the land was zoned for agriculture use, and since only if there is a rezoning of the land to undertake urban activities, then the investment can go through. So with regard to how to make the rezoning happen, that is where there was difference of opinion. So the consulting firms that MTD had hired had suggested for an alternative method, and whether the alternative method is feasible or this is the only way, or is there an obligation on the part of Chile to rezone the land because it had earlier approved the FIC application. So this is what is discussed on the substantive questions with regard to this particular case. We will discuss that in the next video. Thank you.